Ladies and gentlemen, may we have your attention, please? We ask that you familiarize yourselves with the nearest marked exits as a cautionary procedure prior to our commencement ceremony today. In the event of an actual emergency, please remain calm, and public safety and security officials will direct you to specific locations where detailed instruction will be provided for you as needed. Thank you for your cooperation.
Americans week. Americans week.
So when we get over here, we'll take a break and say, no,
Like I said,
that's
I'll do
behind
that.
or something.
Americans week. 2 bars. 1, 2, 2, 2. You guys, turn this over to Lovely Day. Oh, wow. Turn one over to Lovely Day. Lovely Day.
Lovely day.
You win some, you lose some, right?
Four beats. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Bishop, going modern.
Turn this over, go to Barrage.
Me?
Oh, good, good, good.
No, not me.
Gentlemen,
Oh,
Ladies, Jack is coming. Very good. Ladies.
unveil the yellow shirts.
Stand up.
Do what I was gonna say. You gonna hold?
Next thing is alumni. Go to the processional.
Start at 17. Here it comes.
How do you do it slow?
toss them over.
All the best.
Picture.
The 270th Commencement of the University of Pennsylvania will now begin.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you, Noah Milad. And good morning, graduates and all who are here to celebrate with them. Will you please join me in a spirit of prayer and reflection for our invocation? These have not been easy years in our world, and Penn is no island. Yet we, our brilliant faculty, faithful staff members, determined administrators, and most of all, our remarkable graduates, have made it to this truly special day, Penn's 270th commencement. Thus, it is right that before anything else, we pause and give thanks. Thank you for grace under pressure, for excellence under duress, light, joy, and love, even during challenging times globally and personally. We studied, taught, researched, healed, served, led, performed, fought for change, competed, won championships and awards, laughed, cried, and found the courage to keep going during what historians will point to as a uniquely difficult moment in our world. We learned we can do hard things, that we aren't alone, that every long, cold winter eventually gives way to a beautiful spring, and again we give thanks. We learn that we grow during seasons of adversity, and that just like the joy-filled ones, they can be gifts as well. Thus, we begin this commencement ceremony with hearts full of gratitude for it all and for them all. We pray your blessings on this very special class. May they continue to grow. May they continue to be focused not just on success for self, but much more importantly, on impact and service. May the seeds planted in their hearts while here at Penn blossom into beautiful contributions across the vast range of fields represented here today. May this class know just how proud of them we are. Bless this class, including my kid Rissa. Amen. Friends, will you join me in welcoming the 10th President of the University of Pennsylvania, Dr. Larry Jameson.
Thank you, Reverend Howard, and thank you, Noah, for that incredible rendition of our national anthem. Yesterday, Noah jumped out of an airplane and went skydiving. On my bucket list, but I'm not that brave. Congratulations, Noah. As I look out at you today, I do not just see graduates. I see intrepid learners who left home to explore a defining chapter in their lives. I see bold thinkers who experience moments of doubt and discovery. I see amazing people who will change the world and make it better. But none of us gets to this graduation entirely on our own. So students, please stand and take a moment to turn around and thank your families and friends. And now from the stands, let's hear it for the class of 2026. Okay, the stands won that one. Graduates, 250 years ago, the members of the class of 1776, all 7 of them, gathered for their commencement. The next day, just steps away in the State House, now known as Independence Hall, the drafting began for the Declaration of Independence. One of the most important edits that's been attributed to our founder, Benjamin Franklin, gave us the foundational assertion: we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. 8 Penn affiliates would go on to sign that document and help define the promise of this nation. They faced an uncertain future with no roadmap, only preparation and courage. They stepped into a world that was being remade from scratch. You too are stepping into a transforming world. Forces moving faster than we imagined are reshaping how we live and how we connect. Every day brings new tools, computing, energy tools, robotics, and medicine. Just a few years ago, these advances might have seemed like science fiction. That pace of change can feel exhilarating, but it can also feel disorienting. But this is not the first time humanity has faced such a moment. The philosopher Socrates worried in his day that a new technology would weaken memory and one's ability to think deeply. In a world where oral tradition reigned, he was concerned that repeating information without truly understanding it would undermine knowledge. He was talking about writing. Other generations have worried that the printing press, radio, or TV would erode human skills. And each time, people have found ways to adapt and channel these new tools towards human ends. At Penn, we prize innovation. We teach it, we study it, we shape it. Just this time last year, across the street at Children's Hospital, a child was cured of a lethal genetic disease using gene editing. Many children will follow KJ Muldoon and have their disorders cured. And every generation believes that its technologies will change everything, and every generation is in part right. The pace of change today is extraordinary. But a deeper question has not changed. How do we define a life that is meaningful? You're entering a world that rewards acceleration, faster answers, faster decisions, faster everything. But the most meaningful parts of life are not built at speed. Your family, friendship, health, justice, beauty, and fulfillment. These are characteristics that make all of us human. So today, I want to offer you 3 time-tested ideas for building a meaningful life. First, cherish the arts. Second, embrace nature. And third, choose people. First, cherish the arts. Art can be restorative and instructive, both unsettling and beautiful. At Penn, you have lived inside an art gallery and a performance stage. From the Button to Brick House, you've been surrounded by creativity, sometimes without even realizing it. Long study days were enriched by songs that stayed with you, an exhibition that opened a new perspective, and at your 25th reunion, you will look back at today's music with nostalgia and maybe a laugh. The arts can challenge and connect us. They remind us why life is worth living. Wherever you go, hold on to the arts, support them, and let them shape you. Second, embrace nature. We are part of an ecosystem. Step outside and notice the light change at sunset. Smell the air before a storm, or sit quietly long enough to hear what often goes unheard. Time outdoors can reduce stress, and it reconnects us to the rhythms of a larger world. Think about your time here, when you strolled down Locust Walk, when you sat by the biopond, or on college greens. Those moments matter. So reconnect and recommit to protecting the environment, not as an obligation, but as an inheritance that you're passing on. Third, choose people. This may be the most important of the three. I've watched you show up for one another. I've also watched, and I know, that many acts have gone unseen. Those are the moments that define a life and reveal character. When you face a choice between isolation and in-person, choose people. When you face a choice between scrolling or connecting, choose people. You've already experienced what it means to be part of a vibrant community. You have listened to and learned from different perspectives and debated ideas. Research from Penn's Positive Psychology Center confirms what you already know, that relationships and a sense of purpose within community are essential to our well-being. Screens can inform and entertain, but it is time together that gives meaning. So invest in people, show up for them, build something together that is larger than yourself. And finally, remember that you are heirs of Benjamin Franklin. So long as we uphold that foundational truth, that all people are created equal, we help ensure that everyone can pursue a more meaningful life. I believe that future students perhaps even the class of 2276, 250 years from now, will look back at this moment just as we now look back at the class of 1776. May they see what I see, people who privilege substance over speed, who love learning, balance ambition with care, and leave communities better than they found them. The world will test you, but you are ready. Not because you have every answer, but because you have learned to ask better questions. At Penn, you learn to listen to evidence and change your mind when warranted. Intellectual humility combined with moral courage. The world needs more of that, just as it needs more of you. So before I close, I want to offer a small challenge. Tonight, reach out to one person who has helped you through college and thank them. You applied to Penn with a letter of gratitude. Let that also be your first act as members of our amazing global alumni community. Cherish art, protect nature, and always choose people. Carry these lessons with you. I know you will make your time count, and our world will be better for it. Congratulations to the extraordinary class of 2026.
As Provost, it is my great pleasure to acknowledge the many awards and distinctions accorded our faculty and students this year. Their achievements, many of which are listed in your commencement program, bring honor both to them and to the university, and they deserve our full recognition. I urge your special attention to those members of the faculty who have been honored for their teaching. The 8 recipients of the Lindback Teaching Award, the 4 recipients of the Provost Awards, and those faculty who have been accorded teaching awards from their individual schools. I would also like to recognize those members of the faculty who have stepped down after many years of distinguished service. These dedicated scholars have devoted their careers to the acquisition of knowledge and have shared their wisdom and their insights with students, inspiring them in their own intellectual pursuits. Faculty members who have retired after a lifetime of scholarship and teaching exemplify the high ideals and standards to which all of us in the Academy aspire. Over the course of their studies, a number of members of the class of 2026 have distinguished themselves among their peers. Through their outstanding scholarship, they have achieved membership in select academic honor societies, which recognize student accomplishment and represent the very best of Penn's scholarly community. Those societies and those students are on pages 60 through 65 of your commencement program. Would those elected to the principal undergraduate and graduate honor societies please stand if you are able and remain standing as I name each society. Phi Beta Kappa. The Matthew Cryer Honor Society. The Omicron Kappa Upsilon Honor Society. Eta Kappa Nu. Tau Beta Pi. Alpha Omega Alpha. The Gold Humanism Honor Society. Sigma Theta Tau. The Society of Phi Zeta. And Beta Gamma Sigma. It's also my pleasure to recognize the 2026 graduates whose academic achievements, campus leadership, and service have earned them prizes and awards from the university, from the individual schools, from alumni groups, and from external organizations. These recipients and their honors are on pages 66 through 70. I ask that these distinguished students also please rise if you are able. If you're already up, please stand up some more, stay up. And everyone else, join me in warmly congratulating these outstanding young people. You may now be seated.
Good morning. It is my great honor to represent the University of Pennsylvania's thousands of faculty in congratulating our graduating students. The fact that I'm here on this stage alongside the president, the provost, our distinguished speaker, honorary degree recipients, and others is itself a testament to the transformative power of education. As my late father's son and the descendant of enslaved people, I'm the first black member of my family to receive a college education and the child of a man who worked back-breaking night shifts in a brewery to put me through school. But I'm also Nisei, born to a Japanese immigrant who left the land of her birth in search of a freer, more prosperous life. She worked as a seamstress out of the spare bedroom of our home until she herself returned to school in midlife, found her vocation as a teacher, and finally achieved her version of the American dream. And so it is from this vantage point, grateful for the high value my family placed on education and for all it has made possible for me, that I join you in celebrating this remarkable milestone in your lives. Thanks to the education my family worked so hard to give me, I'm now a behavioral neurologist, a physician who spends his time thinking about how our brains give us the remarkable capacity for cognition. During your time at Penn, you have further affirmed the power of your own brains and the brilliant, varied minds that they give rise to. You have plumbed the depths of history and philosophical inquiry, expanded the frontiers of scientific discovery, explored the market forces that shape our world, and learned about the psychological and social principles that guide human behavior. You've also expanded your minds through exposure to one another's viewpoints, confronting biases and preconceptions by getting to know fellow students from all walks of life. In all the ways that you have challenged and been challenged by Penn, we of the faculty, along with your families, your friends, and communities, have watched with joy and pride as you prepared your minds to engage an eagerly awaiting world. That world, a world that needs you, is increasingly defined by change. As our founder, Benjamin Franklin, famously observed, change is the only constant in life. One's ability to adapt to those changes will determine your success in life. So whether you plan to take on the ever-shifting landscape of human disease, respond to the accelerating climate crisis, navigate dynamic geopolitical realities, grapple with mounting social inequities, or create the emerging innovations that will shape the future, the demands on you will be in continual flux. Fortunately, you are all up for the challenge. Science has taught us that the human brain is always adapting to its demands. It is built for change, and by extension, so are you. Embrace it. As the microbiologist and chemist Louis Pasteur observed, fortune favors the prepared minds. May the excellent preparations your minds received here at Penn bless you with the ability to keep growing and adapting, and with all the good fortune to follow. Let me end by saying that the real secret to the brain's success is its connectivity. While each brain cell is a wonder in its own right, it is their constant communication with one another that gives rise to consciousness, thought, perception, and action, the crux of our human experience. As you leave Penn and move toward your bright futures, stay connected to this place and, just as importantly, to one another. And as we approach our nation's 250th anniversary, remember that this day marks you forever as part of a shared community, an unbroken chain of scholarship and commitment to society that stretches back 286 years and now continues through you. Congratulations. Savor this wonderful moment with all those who supported your journey here, and remember that we, the faculty, are cheering for you as well.
Thank you, Dr. Hamilton. The honorary degrees will now be conferred. This Penn tradition dates back to the 1750s. The full text of each citation can be found in your commencement program. First, Carolyn Bertozzi. As a pioneering scientist in glycobiology, you study the complex sugar molecules that cover every cell in living organisms and how they regulate cellular processes and affect human health. Your discoveries, including the invention of bioorthogonal chemistry, which allows us to image cell surface sugars, have transformed biological science and medicine and earned you the 2022 Nobel Prize in Chemistry. As co-founder of multiple biotechnology companies, you advance treatments for cancer, neurological disorders, autoimmune conditions, and rare diseases, including promising gene therapy work through Grace Science. With admiration for your groundbreaking discoveries and their profound implications for human health, the trustees of the University of Pennsylvania are honored and pleased to confer upon you, Carolyn Bertozzi, the degree of Doctor of Sciences honoris causa. Michael Beschloss. Inspired at an early age by a visit to Abraham Lincoln's home, you pursued a lifelong dedication to understanding American history and leadership. You have since built a prolific career as a historian and author, offering fresh perspectives in best-selling works, including Presidential Courage and The Conquerors. Your meticulous scholarship brought new insight, including the publication of Lyndon Johnson's White House tapes, and also through your collaboration with Caroline Kennedy on Jacqueline Kennedy's historic Conversations on Life with John F. Kennedy. As an NBC News presidential historian and a contributor to PBS NewsHour, you have served as a trusted voice for millions. You have also held scholarly appointments at leading institutions and served on numerous national boards dedicated to preserving and interpreting the American story. With gratitude for a career devoted to exploring the lessons of history and leadership, and for enlightening generations through scholarship and public service, the trustees at the University of Pennsylvania are honored and pleased to confer upon you, Michael Beschloss, the degree of Doctor of Letters honoris causa. James Corner. Your celebrated career in landscape architecture took shape at Penn as a student and later as a faculty member. Your most iconic work, New York City's High Line, transformed an abandoned elevated railway into a global model for urban renewal, now enjoyed by millions each year. From Philadelphia and San Francisco to Hong Kong and London, your projects draw people together, revitalize cities, and honor the ecological character of their surroundings. Your work has been recognized with the field's highest honors, including election to the American Academy of Arts and Letters. For reimagining what cities can be and bringing those ideas to life for the benefit of communities worldwide, the trustees at the University of Pennsylvania are honored and pleased to confer upon you, James Corner, the degree of Doctor of Arts honoris causa. Claudia Golden. Your research transformed our understanding of women's role in the American workforce. This has long been overlooked in the field of economics, and for this work, you received the 2023 Nobel Prize in Economics. Some of your most influential work took place here at Penn, where you uncovered critical surveys illuminating the World War II-era female labor force, an experience you have described as a defining moment. Following your Penn years, you joined Harvard University, becoming its first woman tenured professor of economics. In recognition of your path-breaking scholarship and its lasting impact on economics and the public understanding, the University of Pennsylvania and its trustees are honored and pleased to confer upon you, Claudia Golden, the degree of the Doctor of Laws honoris causa. Anne Hobson-Pilot. Your remarkable life in music began in Philadelphia, where your rare gifts with the harp have led to a full scholarship at the Cleveland Institute of Music. At just 26, you joined the Boston Symphony Orchestra. You became the first black principal player of the orchestra and the first black woman to hold a principal position in a major orchestra. You have inspired generations of musicians through teaching and mentorship, and you have supported efforts to encourage inclusion and access for young artists. With admiration for your artistry and leadership, your enduring influence, the trustees at the University of Pennsylvania are honored and pleased to confer upon you and Hobson Pilot the degree of Doctor of Music honoris causa.
I now have the honor of introducing our commencement speaker. The philosopher George Santayana once wrote that those who do not remember the past are condemned to repeat it. Our guest this morning has spent his entire career making sure that excuse no longer applies. Michael Beschloss is America's preeminent presidential historian, a writer who brings the past to life, making centuries-old documents feel like they were just texted yesterday. If you've ever watched the news and thought, how on earth did we get here? He has a 300-year answer and frankly has been waiting for you to ask. He has written 10 best-selling books on the presidency, won an Emmy, studied at Williams College, taught at Harvard Business School and Oxford, and has advised presidents, professors, journalists, and anyone else wise enough to seek his counsel. Along the way, he's listened to Lyndon Johnson's secret White House tapes, untangled wars from the civil to the cold, and chronicled the courage and the hubris of the leaders who shaped our nation. As we approach the country's 250th birthday, I cannot imagine a more timely guest of honor. Michael Beschloss's work reminds us that history is not just dates and speeches. It's a collection of stories, ambition, mistakes, occasional moments of maybe unintended comedy. Whether he's discussing the leadership of Abraham Lincoln or the decisions of Franklin Roosevelt, his work reveals the personalities behind the policies. And what he's found again and again, regardless of the era, is that the moments that change history rarely announce themselves. They often arrive quietly, a conversation, a decision, a person willing to act when it mattered most. Members of the class of 2026, that is exactly where you stand right now. Your Penn education is more than just a credential. It's a compass. The critical thinking, the successes and failures, the hard-won lessons of these years, they will guide you not simply to witness history, but to help make it. Graduates, please join me in welcoming a man who knows more about where we've been than maybe almost anyone else alive, Michael Beschloss.
Thank you so much, John, and congratulations to all of you, the astounding Penn class of 2026. I think it's okay to clap. Glad to see so many happy faces with good reason. Honored to be with you even on this hot day, which would have reminded Ben Franklin of the days that the Constitution was written here in Philadelphia, 1787, one of the hottest summers on record. I am so grateful to be here. Having heard Provost Jackson give me that much too kind introduction, I wish I could follow it up, John, by giving a heroic tale about how I wanted to spend my life from infancy writing all these history books about American presidents. I wish I could tell you honestly, which I can't, that when I was living in Chicago as an infant, my mother read to me from books by timeless scholars like Gibbon, or better yet, she read to me from books by some of Penn's many towering history professors. Wish I could tell that truthfully, but I can't. What actually happened was this, true story. When I was 7 years old, my parents took me to see the historic sites of Abraham Lincoln in our state capital of Springfield. So I got to walk through Lincoln's house where Abraham and Mary raised their sons. And the tour guide, as I remembered, showed me the chair where Lincoln sat when he was reading to his boys. And again, with revisionism, I wish I could tell you that I asked this tour guide about military strategy at the Battle of Gettysburg, or maybe deconstruct Lincoln's views on civil liberties, but after all, I was 7 years old. So what did I ask the guide? I asked him, which was a matter of interest to me at the time, when Lincoln's boys behaved badly, did he spank them? And I looked at the guide's face. The guide scowled. He told me with this, disapproving face, "No, can you believe it? Lincoln did not believe in discipline. When his kids misbehaved, he let those brats run wild through this house." I heard that. From the moment I heard that, Lincoln was my man. I began asking our town librarian in the Chicago suburb I lived in by then for children's books on Lincoln and then other presidents, and after a while it slowly came to my understanding that this writing about presidents could be my actual profession. So with help from some amazing teachers along the way, just like all of yours here at Penn, I've gotten to write history books about presidents, just as I actually accurately, I'm telling the story, began wanting to do when I was 7 years old. It's been decades since I started. I love what I do, and most of the time it doesn't feel like work. Okay, enough about myself. I want to talk about you all. I thought I'd begin by using my skill set as an historian to offering the class of 2026 a brief political history of the class of 2026. Most of you were born in the 21st century. Those of you who grew up in the United States did so under the frightening shadow of 9/11, which was the first major foreign attack on our territory in the United States since 1814, when British soldiers burned our Capitol and our White House. While you were growing up, the United States government waged 2 long and sometimes baffling wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. When Hurricane Katrina struck in 2005, our federal officials failed. Then, a few years later, came a Great Recession, which destroyed the jobs of millions of factory and other workers in America. Many of us, after the Great Recession began, never got our jobs back. Millions of American families were broken. Now, to an earlier generation than even mine, the federal government looked pretty good. Franklin Roosevelt, Harry Truman had led a united, patriotic nation to victory in World War II. A decade later, Dr. Jonas Salk and some in our federal government saved Americans from polio with something called a vaccine. To the generation of it, you can clap for that if you'd like. So to the generation of the early 1960s, the federal government meant things like new coast-to-coast highways, didn't have to stop for a stoplight, and in the end of that decade, sending American astronauts to the moon. And through it all, we Americans were winning the struggle with the Soviet Union, and something really important this month historically. In 1965, our president and Congress did something that was really important. They brought forth a law that was considered almost sacrosanct by presidents of both parties, and that law was called the Voting Rights Act of 1965. So, class of 2026, we are living through very complex times, and your generation, as young as you are, knows our national government for some history that is even more bleak. You were taught about something that happened before you were born, our tragic misadventure in Vietnam, which killed 60,000 idealistic young Americans. With your own eyes, you have watched a gap grow between rich and poor in this country, with so many of us frozen out of the American dream. You knew the tragedy of coronavirus, which altered almost all of our lives to this very hour. My beloved son, Alex, who is here in the audience, rear over here, Alex will be 32 years old this month. Alex has the honor of being also a Penn alum. He's a doctor who had the honor of being trained at Penn's Perelman School of Medicine. We can clap for Perelman, especially with one of its founding fathers, Larry Jameson here, and also Wharton's program in healthcare management. Alex, along with his med school classmates, during the COVID pandemic, worked here in local hospitals. He was fine, his family was a wreck. Like most of you with your families, we were terrified that our cherished son and his friends might themselves one day come down with COVID. And did any of us during that pandemic ever imagine that we would suffer the tragedy that over 1 million Americans would perish from that disease? So in 2026, some pollsters tell us we Americans are on the abyss. They say that we are more divided, pessimistic, and furious than almost any other time. Now, as an historian, I believe that some elements of the national crisis we are in at this moment do echo those of our Civil War struggle over slavery, as well as the late 1930s, when our citizens argued into the night about mobilizing for war against Adolf Hitler. One friend of mine recalled how at dinner with his family in the 1930s, his parents and his brothers and he would get into shouting matches over dinner about the coming war. They would storm out of the room angrily, go upstairs without speaking or eating. That was a very common experience in American households in the late 1930s and at other moments in our history, Civil War, even the war in Vietnam. But here we are in noble Philadelphia, 250 years after our Declaration of Independence. And I would like to reach back into history and talk a little bit about what I consider to be 6 profound American traditions that come from that time. Some are in law, some are just traditions, but all of them, I think, are crucial for us to renew this year, this fateful year of 2026. First tradition I recommend is, this would have been unexceptional if I had said this at almost any earlier Penn commencement, but today, if you can believe it, it's a cause of debate. My first tradition is something called rule of law. We can clap for the rule of law, I do. What does rule of law mean to Americans? It means equal protection so that all Americans, every American, is treated with fairness. And that means, it means from our judicial system, no special favors and no special punishment. As I say, for most of American history, if I had said that at Penn, that would not have been a matter for debate. In 2026, it is. Tradition number 2, free and fair elections. In a free and fair election, which, if I had said this 20 years ago, you would be yawning and saying, why is he stating the obvious? But I can't say it that way today. In a free and fair election, all legal voters, all of them who are empowered to vote and legal to vote, or have the ability to vote, they are empowered to do their civic duty. That's under challenge not only this year, but in the last couple of weeks because of a decision by the Supreme Court on voting rights. Unlike the British monarchy, our founders gave control of our federal government not to a king or not to a privileged few, but to our citizens. So in an election, every 2 years, I agree with that, every 2 years, we Americans are supposed to give presidents and Congress a performance review. A lot of you in the class of 2026 will experience that in your lifetimes, whatever you do. A performance review is what an election is. But sometimes this was in danger. During the Civil War, as I've mentioned, in World War II, President Lincoln and President Franklin Roosevelt were urged by some to cancel our midterm elections because there was a national emergency. Cancel them. At the time, some people in the country demanded that Lincoln and FDR send U.S. Army soldiers to occupy various states in the United States. They wanted those soldiers to surround our polling places, and they also, in some cases, called on our president to do something like impose martial law. If I had talked about that 10 years ago, I'd be talking about history. That is not absent from your possible experience in your lifetimes. So instead of doing all that, how did the wise Lincoln and FDR respond to the idea that they should cancel elections? They responded with 4 words that are just as important today as they were in 1862 and 1942. Those 2 presidents both said, "Let our elections proceed." And why did they do it? You know, certainly there were hazards at a time of national emergency, but they felt if this is really a democracy, then we should have elections even during an emergency and show the world that our democracy was strong and our democracy was durable. Third tradition. Our founders dreamt of a political system that showed honesty, competence, candor, ethics, compassion, decency, self-sacrifice. If I had said that 20 years ago, you should have kicked me off the stage because people would say, you know, who here disagrees with that? Friends, we are living in a different world today. I remember how Presidents John Kennedy and Ronald Reagan quoted from John Winthrop, who was the first governor of the Massachusetts Bay Colony. Winthrop once said, and Kennedy and Reagan love this quote, Winthrop said that we Americans must always conduct ourselves like a city upon a hill. They said we must be ever vigilant that the eyes of the world are always upon us, which they are today. Over on Walnut Street here in Philadelphia, Thomas Jefferson dreamt of a political culture that was so clean, so thrifty, so honorable. I'll repeat those adjectives again. Clean, thrifty, honorable, and efficient, that what Jefferson called our contagion of democracy would spread all around the world. My tradition number 4 is robust leadership from every part of American society, not just leadership or orders imposed by Washington, D.C. And there's, of course, a history to that, too. In 1776, the big decisions in Great Britain were made by one person, their king. They believed in kings. Our founders did not believe in kings. Our founders hoped that, by contrast, if we were ever in a situation where our citizens disliked the actions of a president, a Congress, or a Supreme Court, citizens at every level, in every walk of American society, would come to our national rescue by getting more active in politics. That's your strength as citizens. Harry Truman said it best. Harry Truman liked to say, and I totally agree with this, he used to say, the most powerful job title in America should never be Mr. President. The most powerful job title should always be Mr. Citizen. And I'd like to put this in my own way. I'd like to say, and this is a quote from me, I can't equal Harry Truman, but the way I would put it today is, remember always that under our Constitution, we Americans do not ever work for a president. A president is supposed to work for us. So everything I'm saying, if I had given this speech 20 years ago, people would say, well, what are we supposed to disagree with? We are living in a different nation today. Number 5, I'd like to discuss of all these traditions. If you allow a personal privilege, I'd like to talk a little bit about the place in American society of those of us here who are historians and scholars, especially at Penn. Most of our founders hoped that our historians, and they actually talked about this and expected it, they felt it was a central part of democracy, they hoped that our historians would study past American leaders and past American citizens absolutely with sympathy, but just as much with skepticism. Unlike in the monarchies and the dictatorships of Europe, our founders aspired for us to correct our society through constant, relentless self-criticism. Our founders believed that our critics of Americans' historical past and present deserve just as much honor from all Americans as the sycophants. Life has changed. I believe with all my heart that the job of an American historian every single day is to study and learn from both our successes and our disasters, and there are lots of both. Not only because I'm here in Franklin Field, I always bless Benjamin Franklin, as we all should too. Could we have a hand for Ben? Thank you, Mr. Franklin, for being our host today. So what did Franklin tell us about the role of a historian and the role of a citizen? Franklin said, and we can never say this enough, he said, the first responsibility of every citizen is to question authority. That was Ben Franklin. And so let's renew that vow today in the stadium that honors us. Now, here we are in 2026. You may have noticed there are some politicians in Washington, D.C., who would prefer that we American historians and scholars perform for them sort of like obedient circus clowns. They want our historians to ignore or make excuses for any fault or blemish we discover when we study our American past. I believe our founders, if they knew this, they would be horrified, because this kind of a demand that historians be lapdogs does not fit American democracy. We're not far, for instance, from the site where George Washington served his second term as President of the United States. And at other historic sites and museums across the United States, there is growing federal pressure to destroy historical signs, destroy labels, destroy exhibits that may show things about our history that may not conform from the official version that is handed out from Washington, D.C. This kind of official pressure from Washington, D.C., which we've rarely seen in American history in quite this fashion, this official pressure is painfully, especially obvious about the history of slavery in this country and the history of Black Americans. There is growing evidence of a compulsion by some of our federal politicians to pressure historical scholars to shrink or even erase crucial elements of Black history. This malign attempt to deprecate Black history is wrong. It is not the American way. As of today, we have to demand that it stop. Having said that, the last of my 6 traditions is national unity. Sometimes we forget it. A lot of us do, but our founders hoped that we Americans, with our hard-won independence and freedom, we would lift tankards of ale and wrestle with one another about politics. That kind of political debate was exactly missing from the British system, where the orders had been handed down from the palace. Now, in our Constitution, you will look and you will find that our president is both chief of state and political leader. With the flawed but noble George Washington as their model, our framers hoped that our leaders of the future would strive whenever they could to unite our fractious nation. The nation that Jimmy Carter, on our American bicentennial in 1976, 50 years ago, called a beautiful mosaic. Carter gave a speech that year, and he was elected president on it, saying he wanted to see Americans elect a government that was good and honorable and decent and compassionate and efficient and filled with love, as are the American people. We are living in a very different world today. So my prayer for our country today is this: no matter how bruising our political differences, and they're necessary, although not with violence or rancor, we will never forget, we should never forget, that all of us in the end are all members of the same big American family. Remember, as I know the graduates of Penn do, that we are all bound forever by what Abraham Lincoln called our bonds of mutual affection. Remember that, especially in the year 2026. So one more story, and then I'll sit down and be quiet. Here we are in Franklin Field. Let's all travel back in time to a starlit historic night right here in the stadium, June of 1936. The historical backdrop of that evening was the effort by Adolf Hitler and some terrible American demagogues to push our world and nation toward fascist autocracy. This was 1936. Here in Franklin Field was the end of the 1936 Democratic Convention. President Franklin Roosevelt, who was speaking from, can't see it from here, but basically behind where our platform guests are sitting, accepted his second nomination for president. In a famous address in this stadium, FDR told the crowd that in the year 1936, they all faced what he called a rendezvous with destiny. That's quite well known to historians and many people who study that period, but few people know actually what happened to FDR, unwitnessed by very many people in the stadium, just before he came out and spoke. The president had been devastated by polio. During his public career, he was usually eager to preserve at least the public illusion that he could actually walk, which he could not do unaided. So Roosevelt, before making his grand entrance, he straightened the heavy steel leg braces that were hidden by his baggy trousers. He gripped the arm of his eldest son, who was on one side of him, and that of another helper on the other. Roosevelt rose to his feet, slowly swung his legs back and forth like this, in a way that looked like walking. But before he could get to the lectern, something terrible happened. And what happened was this. Just before the president reached his lectern, in front of all those people, he slipped and fell to the floor. Lucky for FDR politically, few people, even in the stadium, saw the extent of his collapse. Had there been live TV cameras there, as there would be nowadays, or there would have been probably a decade after 1936, Roosevelt's secret incapacity, couldn't walk, would have been exposed to every American voter. And in those days, people were very unsympathetic to people with physical challenges. Exposed in all of his human frailty, when he fell to the ground, if that had gotten out or been on this future device that became a staple called television, FDR might conceivably have lost the 1936 election. And with no Roosevelt as president in 1940, it's possible that we might have lost World War II. Point I'm making is this: what's important in this story is not that Roosevelt fell, we all fall, but that he was able to get up and start moving again. So he asked his son Jimmy, "Dust me off, get me back on my feet if you can." And so, like the generation of 1936, the Penn class of 2026 has your own rendezvous with destiny this critical year. All I can ask you to do is just be sure to save our nation and world, no pressure. And please remember that during your lives, as they unfold, and I hope they will be long lives, you will inevitably feel sometimes disheartened or sometimes knocked down. Happens to all of us. And when that happens, when you're feeling disheartened or knocked down, remember the lesson that Franklin Roosevelt accidentally provided you 90 years ago next month right here in Franklin Field. So my interpretation of FDR's message to you today in closing is, when it happens that you're disheartened or feel set back, straighten yourself up, dust yourself off, try to get back on your feet, but most of all, get moving again. And one last historical reminder, then I'll shut up. As you get moving again and demonstrate resilience, remember that that kind of invincible resilience is exactly what our beloved nation has shown for 250 years. Thank you all very much.
Degrees in course will now be conferred. The presentations will be made by the deans. Candidates are requested to stand if they are able when the degrees have been conferred by the dean, and to take their seats when the dean has concluded.
On behalf of the Great School of Arts and Sciences, I ask the candidates for the following degrees to rise as I call them. Master of Science in Applied Geosciences, Master of Applied Positive Psychology, Master of Behavioral and Decision Sciences, Master of Chemical Sciences, Master of Environmental Studies, Master of Liberal Arts, Master of Philosophy in Liberal Arts, Master of Philosophy in Organizational Dynamics, Master of Science in Organizational Dynamics, Master of Public Administration, Bachelor of Fine Arts, and last, but certainly not least, the candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Arts. And now, I present to you the recipients of the finest liberal arts education in the land. These civic-minded and intellectually adventurous scholars are gifted problem solvers, communicators, and innovators with analytic and creative powers. They are poised to become the next generation of leaders and to make the world a better place.
I ask the candidates in the School of Engineering and Applied Science for the following degrees to please rise. Bachelor of Applied Science, Bachelor of Science in Engineering, Master of Biotechnology, Master of Computer and Information Technology, Master of Integrated Product Design, and a Master of Science in Engineering. President Jameson, the future is never easy to predict. especially in times of technological change. But engineers don't wait for the future to arrive. They design it, they build it, and they make it better. I proudly present to you the Penn Engineering Class of 2026, leaders who will shape the futures of our world. Congratulations.
I ask the candidates for the Bachelors of Science in Economics and the Masters of Business Administration to please rise. When Joseph Wharton founded the Wharton School in 1881, he hoped that our students would become pillars of the state, whether in public or private life. President Jameson, I am pleased to present these candidates from the world's first and the world's finest business school. They are accomplished and ambitious, and they will go out into our world and do good and do well. Congratulations.
Will the candidates for the degrees of Bachelor of Science in Nursing, Masters of Professional Nursing, Masters of Science in Nursing, Master of Science in Nutrition Science, and Doctor of Nursing Practice from the #1 school of nursing in the world, please rise. President Jameson, I'm presenting to you visionary leaders, trailblazing innovators and researchers, exemplary practitioners, and professionals. I am confident that they will rise to the future with purpose and resolve, delivering exemplary health care, advancing science, transforming policy and practice, and engaging communities worldwide to secure a just and equitable future for all. It is with great pride that I present these exceptional graduates. Congratulations.
President Jameson, Provost Jackson, it is my honor to present the graduates of the Perelman School of Medicine for the degrees of Master of Bioethics, Master of Biomedical Informatics, Master of Healthcare Innovation, Master of Public Health, Master of Regulatory Affairs, Master of Science in Clinical Epidemiology, Master of Science in Genetic Counseling, Master of Science in Health Policy Research, Master of Science in Medical Ethics, Master of Science in Medical Physics, Master of Science in Regulatory Science, Master of Science in Translational Research, Master of Healthcare Quality and Safety, and Doctor of Medicine. As we mark the nation's 250th and the many firsts of our university and of our great city of Philadelphia, we also celebrate our school as the first school of medicine in the United States of America, founded in 1765. Building upon our storied 261-year history of innovation and breakthroughs, our graduates have answered the call to service as champions of science, humanity, and caring. Today's graduates continue that tradition in their commitment to uplifting our community and serving a changing world.
President Jameson, I'm honored to present to you the candidates from the University of Pennsylvania Carey Law School. I ask the candidates for the following degrees to please rise if able: Master in Law, Master of Laws, Master of Comparative Law, Juris Doctor, and Doctor of the Science of Law. President Jameson, These extraordinary candidates are prepared to practice, lead, and serve at the highest levels in their careers and communities. And we need them now more than ever. Through their knowledge, advocacy skills, ingenuity, and commitment to service, they will advance the principles of justice, fairness, equality, and that rule of law we were hearing about earlier. I'm proud to present the lawyers and leaders of tomorrow, the amazing Penn Carey Law Class of 2026.
On behalf of the Stuart Weitzman School of Design, I ask the candidates for the following degrees to please stand. Master of Architecture, Master of City Planning, Master of Fine Arts, Master of Landscape Architecture, Master of Urban Spatial Analytics, Master of Science in Architecture, Master of Science in Design, Advanced Architectural Design, Master of Science in Design, Historic Preservation, Master of Science in Design, Robotics and Autonomous Systems, Master of Science in Historic Preservation, and Master of Environmental Building Design. President Jameson, from our farmlands to our cities, in suburbs and on the coast, our communities need greener buildings, more resilient landscapes, thought-provoking art, and better transportation and housing. Our graduates have the passion and the organic intelligence to make them a reality. I give you the amazing class of Weitzman class of 2026. Congratulations.
I present the candidates from the School of Dental Medicine for degrees of Doctor of Science in Dentistry, Master of Science in Oral Biology, Master of Oral Health Sciences, Master of Science in Oral Population Health, Master of Advanced Dental Studies, and Doctor of Dental Medicine. Please rise. As Dean of the School of Dental Medicine, President Jameson, it is an honor and a privilege to present to you the outstanding graduates from the School of Dental Medicine, who as thoughtful, compassionate, and skillful practitioners and scientists help to bring smiles to the children and adults around the world. These students have exhibited tremendous resilience, sense of purpose, and compassion for their patients and each other. They are prepared and excited to embark on the long and successful career as oral health providers. Thank you.
President Jameson, I present to you Penn Vet, the School of Veterinary Medicine. Will the candidates for the degrees of Veterinary Medical Doctor and Masters of Science in Animal Welfare and Behavior please rise? As graduates, you will be entrusted to protect, preserve, and restore the health and well-being of animals of all kinds, everywhere, at all hours, and all temperatures. Your knowledge transcends the animal world, allowing you to address One Health, the interconnected health of animals, humans, and ecosystems. As trusted professionals, you have an immense opportunity to make your community stronger and the world a better place. We could not be prouder of you and your accomplishments and look forward to supporting your journey as alumni. So congratulations and hail to the one and only VMD class of 2026.
On behalf of the Penn Graduate School of Education, I ask the candidates for the following degrees to please rise. Master of Philosophy in Education, Master of Science in Education, and Doctor of Education. President Jameson, the Penn GSE class of 2026 is made up of teachers, leaders, counselors, higher education administrators, policymakers, researchers, and innovators. Our graduates represent a wide array of backgrounds, professional journeys, and aspirations. They step forward at a moment when the very purpose of education is being contested in classrooms, courtrooms, and communities across the nation and the world. And they do so with resolve and the commitment to the idea that education is and always must be the bedrock of a just and thriving society. It is an honor to present the Penn GSE class of 2026.
Will the candidates for the Master of Social Work, Master of Science in Nonprofit Leadership, Master of Science in Social Policy, and Doctorate in Clinical Social Work please rise as you are able? President Jameson, I am so very proud to present these inspiring graduates of the School of Social Policy and Practice. We send them off to make the world a better place as they advance social innovation, social impact, and social good. We have equipped them for this vital work. I know they will make the world a better place. Congratulations, class of 2026.
President Jameson, founded in 1959, the University of Pennsylvania's Annenberg School for Communication is nationally recognized as the leading center for communication research. Obviously. This research includes health communication, computational social science, cultural inquiry, and the study of politics, policy, and institutions. Our graduates are advancing the teaching and scholarship and practice of media and communication worldwide at a moment when truthful and ethical communication has never mattered more. As a distinguished doctoral program, we are honored to present our accomplished PhD candidates to you at the university's 270th Commencement. Please also join me in congratulating the Annenberg undergraduate communication majors who received their bachelor's degree through the School of Arts and Sciences, along with our master's and doctoral graduates receiving degrees through the graduate faculties. Congratulations to each of you and to your families and friends who join you in this amazing celebration.
I ask the candidates for Masters of Arts, Masters of Science, and Doctor of Philosophy to please stand as you are able. President Jameson, on behalf of the Graduate Council of the Faculties, representing the graduate groups from across the University of Pennsylvania, I am honored to present to you these candidates whose distinguished scholarship, dedication to academic rigor, and enduring curiosity have extended the frontiers of knowledge through their research, teaching, and scholarly impact. Through their pursuit of new knowledge, they have the capacity to extend our understanding of the many facets of our world and continue Penn's tradition of impact through connection, engagement, and innovation. Congratulations.
Well, I have heard the recommendation of our deans, and now, with the authority vested in me by the trustees, I confer upon you the degrees recommended by your faculty with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities pertaining therein to those degrees. Congratulations. Before we close, we have a few more people to thank. So, students, again, let's have a big hand for your families, partners, and friends up in the stands. And in the front rows and along our halls, Penn also has the best faculty, staff, and alumni in the world. Let's hear it for them. It's been an unforgettable day. I want to thank all of you. Please stay in place until the academic procession and the reunion classes have left the field. And would everyone please rise now for the dismissal offered by Reverend Howard.
You are enough. Before any job titles, further degrees, or future accomplishments, you are already enough. May this knowledge be of comfort, reminding you that the love of those around you doesn't depend on any future success. You are enough. But may this knowledge of your enoughness also free you to, in fact, be successful. May you be free to chase dreams and joy, not from insecurity. May your enoughness free you to work hard from passion and not pressure. May it free you to create, build, rest, love, and to help those who do not have enough. And may you remember that your Penn family will always be cheering for you. Hurrah!
Now in hall and campus through, lift up your hearts and voices for the royal red and blue. Fair Harvard has her crimson, old Yale her colors too. But for dear Pennsylvania, we wear the red and blue. Hurrah! Hurrah, Pennsylvania! Hurrah for the red and the blue! Hurrah! 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 Hurrah for the red and blue!